Last example here, example 2, solve the following and graph the inequalities. I'm just wanted to point out if I do go too fast for you in these, or if you miss something, you're going to need to watch it. Some of you guys might need to, if not most of you, might need to watch this video, especially for the last example or second last example, 2 or 3 times. In fact, I'd encourage you just to watch the whole thing. See how I do it, see if you can recognize patterns, and then watch it again and copy the notes. So just keep all of that in mind. The intention of these is not that you would follow along and copy down and immediately understand it. That would be nearly impossible. So anyways, first thing we need to do is get rid of brackets, and we did this before by multiplying in. So 4 times x is 4x. 4 times -3 is -12. And then we got our symbol and 16. Now there is no like terms on either side, and there is no x. There is no move the x to the one side because x is already alone on this side. So the last thing you could do is BEDMAS. So in that case, we're going to add over the 12 and add over the 12 to get rid of it. So on the left, I have a 4x, and on the right, I have 16 plus 12, which is 28. Now this does say 4 times x, so we'll divide by 4 and divide by 4 and get just an x and the symbol, and 28 divided by 4 is 7. So x is on the opening side, the big opening. So x is up because on the bigger side, x is more or larger than or equal to, because there is that line, 7. So it's more than or equal to 7. Because we're dealing with all the way to 7, we'll probably put 0 near the end here. So we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And because it's equal to would mean we're going to fill in this dot. And more than that would mean to the right. We're getting more numbers, bigger numbers, larger numbers, so that's to the right. So that's what you need to have. So again, we put in the brackets, and then we did backwards BEDMAS because there was no like terms and no x's on both sides. Now, for b, we got brackets again. So 3 times x would be a 3x. 3 times -5 would be a -15. And then you got the -4, you got the symbol, you got the 2x, and the -7. So that was our b. Now, do we have any like terms? Yes, we do. We've got the -15 and -4 for a total of -19. So we got the 3x there, we got the symbol, we got the 2x, we got the -7, but we had the 15 and 4 to get 19, of course negative. Now we have the b, we have the l. Do we have x's on two sides where we need to move over the smaller one? Yes, we do. We got an x there and an x there. So we need to move over the smaller x. That would be the 2. So we'll subtract it. 2x minus 2x is gone. We'll minus it over here. So on the left, we have 3 minus 2, which is 1. I'll just write an x. Then we got that -19. We got that symbol. And we have a -7. Now that we've done the brackets are gone, the like terms are gone, the x's are gone, we can just do backwards BEDMAS. So we need to get rid of the add subtract first. So we're going to get rid of this subtract by adding 19 to both sides. So x, we got that symbol, and 19 minus 7 is going to be 12. And x is not being times by anything. You might have a 1 here, in which case you can just get rid of that. Whoops. So get rid of that. And there's my answer. Now this says x is on the bigger opening side. So I'm going to write x is more or larger than, there is an equal to, or equal to 12. So there's my sentence. And it is equal to, so when I find 12, I will make sure to put a filled in circle. Now this 12 I mean, there's only 10 marks on this thing, so how can I mark 0? Well, I'm going to put 0, pretty far over here. And what I'm actually going to do is scale this like this: 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So I wanted to write all of them out so that the reader could see the scale. And so here I am at 12 is equal to, so I fill in the dot. And more than would be to the right. So that's how we would have that. So let's zoom it out here. Again, we did the brackets. Then we did the like terms, the 15 and the 4. Then we moved over the smaller x. And then after that, it was all backwards BEDMAS. Now, C. I see 2 brackets. So I have a negative 2 times x, which is a negative 2x. And I have a negative 2 times negative 5, and negative times a negative is a positive, and 2 times 5 is 10. And there's a 5 that was there, and there's our symbol. And I see another bracket, so 3 times x. Here, 3 times x will be a 3x. And 3 times 2 will be a positive 6. And there's a minus 1 there. So that was our brackets thing, our bracket step. So now we need to do any like terms. Is there anything that's alike? So I see a 6 and a negative 1. So that 6 and negative 1 would become a 5. And then I see a 5 and a 10, which would be a 15. So that was looking for the like terms. So I got the symbol there, I've got the 3x, and I've got over here, I've got a negative 2x. The 5 and 10 is a positive 15, and the 6 minus 1 is a positive 5. So now I've got x's on 2 sides, so I'm going to have to do the x step, which is move over the smaller or more negative x. In that case, that's right here. The negative 2 is the more negative one, so we'll add it. Negative 2x and positive 2x will cancel. So I'll add it to this side. So I got 15 less than 3x plus 2x is 5x plus 5. Now what I can do is I can move over the 5. I can do backwards BEDMAS. So instead of adding 5, I will then subtract it. Oh, I've run out of room here. So I'm just going to, how much room do I have below? Not much. Okay, so I will erase this a little bit and give myself some, write a little bit smaller. So I got the 15 that was there, that symbol, a 5x and a 5. So now I'll minus the 5 and minus the 5, which I was saying was then 10. There's that symbol. Those are gone. In case you want to know, my line's still there. And I got a 5x. And I can divide by 5, divide by 5. And this I'm going to write just over to the side. I've got 10 over 5, which is 2. I've got my symbol, and I have my x. Okay, so now I need to write a little sentence for this. So x is on the bigger opening side. So x is more or larger than, there is no equal, so we can leave that. So x is more or larger than 2. So I can just put 2 on here, so I'm going to make 0 here. I'll make 2 here. It's larger than it, so here's my open, and larger is to the right. So it looks like all of these were to the right. 2 of them were equal signs, so I filled in the dot. The last one was a closed circle, so I did not fill in the dot. And there you have it. So that is the most complicated. There are no more examples. This is the end of the solving unit. These are the most complicated ones. This in particular, because it's got the b, the bracket, the like terms, the x, and then on top of that you have to write an inequality and graph it. So there's a little bit more to that. But otherwise, that is everything.